Hey there everyone, I'm meteorologist Cassie Knoll and this is your 10 Weather Impact Recap for the week. Let's start with a look at the top weather stories from around the country. Have you ever heard of a Virga bomb? The National Weather Service office in Midland, Odessa, Texas reported the event, which created a record-breaking wind gust of 111 miles per hour at the Midland airport. So how did this happen? Well, as rain fell through dry air, it evaporated, which is where the Virga part of the name comes in. Evaporation is a cooling process, so the surrounding air cooled rapidly, making it heavier and more dense, which caused it to fall quickly to the ground, landing and spreading out with a lot of force. We could also call this event a dry microburst. And there's your science lesson for the day. Also, welcome to the month of May. This is the third and final month of meteorological spring, when average temperatures will warm from the mid-70s into the low 80s. Knoxville also averages one day with a high in the 90s this month. By the averages for rainfall, May is actually our fourth driest month of the year. Winter and spring are our two wettest seasons of the year, with strong cold fronts drawing moisture up from the Gulf. As we start to transition toward the warm season, those fronts don't make it into the southeast as often. And without the daily showers and storms developing yet, like they do during the summer, we can sometimes see slightly drier conditions in the month of May. The latest outlooks for the month show a chance for above average temperatures, possibly even some above average rainfall to our west, while in our location we could see equal chances of above or below average rainfall through the month of May. Now, spring severe weather season is actually still ramping up in the southeast as we go through the month of May. Check out these maps of the severe weather probabilities from the Storm Prediction Center. Notice how the color over East Tennessee goes from orange in the first week of the month to red by the time we get to the end of the month. This indicates that based on climatology, we will have a slightly better chance of seeing damaging winds or even some hail with storms that develop as we go through the next couple of weeks. Interestingly, the chances of tornadoes goes down slightly through the month. This is a gentle reminder that you should always pay attention to the forecast and check back for those updates. Great Smoky Mountains National Park has announced the dates of their annual synchronous firefly event. Every year in late May or early June, visitors gather to witness the mesmerizing phenomenon of this unique firefly species, known for its synchronous flashing behavior. The Park Service limits access to the Elkmont area during an 8-day period of predicted peak firefly activity to alleviate traffic congestion and minimize disturbances to the fireflies and their ecosystem during their mating period. This year, the peak of that activity will be from May 29th to June 5th, and you can find more information on our website at WBIR.com. Even in the coldest part of the planet, it's raining more often than it used to. That directly impacts cute little penguins, but it also creates impacts that show up along our coasts. Chase Kane traveled to Antarctica, where he got caught in the rain more than once.
Clumsy on land, but lightning fast in the water, penguins are captivating. But climate change is bringing a new threat to these endearing little birds, a threat
Wipe the lens.
which also caught me by surprise.
It would be a fair assumption that it only snows in Antarctica, right? But you might notice it's actually raining right now. And this is one of many signs of climate change in the region. In fact, this is the western peninsula of Antarctica, and this region is the second fastest warming.
Where it already rains an average of 50 days every year, but French scientists project by the end of this century, that will more than triple. Rain makes glaciers break off or calve more easily by weakening the ice, not unlike how it weakens the defenses of some penguins.
Chicks, they have really fluffy coats with a lot of down feathers, so they are protected from the cold, but they are not as waterproof as the adult feathers. So when we have rain and then they get soaked and then we have cold afterwards, we have higher chick mortality.
Julia is the resident bird expert for HX Expeditions, bringing tourists to Antarctica. On board, she and her fellow scientists explain the impacts of climate change. Although sometimes difficult, the Hickey family made this trip from Washington for this kind of real-world lesson.
And then you'd see like a dead penguin carcass and you were like, that small penguin, died and they didn't make it. I don't know, just how those small things can all come together and just affect us.
Penguins feel it directly, but soon we will too. Rain here makes the entire planet hotter. NASA satellites tracked how rain replaces snow and ice with vegetation. Since the late 80s, there's 14 times more Antarctic land that is green instead of white.
So it's contributing to warming as well, or to not reflecting as much energy as the white continent has done so far. So again, it's changing something in the equation will lead to a different result on the other end.
British scientists recently found it may even be raining here in the winter. They warn that will have devastating consequences rippling well beyond the land of penguins by raising global sea levels. 129 million Americans live along our coasts, and increasingly, even when it's not raining, the oceans are spilling onto coastal streets on the sunniest of days. I'm National Climate Reporter Chase Kane.
In Chimney Rock, North Carolina, recovery from the damage of Hurricane Helene is not just a goal, it's a mission. Jesse Pierre shares the progress as the small community continues to rebuild.
For nearly 30 years, Sherry Cummins' life was rooted in Chimney Rock.
We gotta go to the fire department.
Everything changed in September when Helene roared through. She lost her home, her business, her livelihood to the storm. But her light never went out.
I never faltered. You have to go on. That's my personality. I'm gonna do it. We're gonna get back.
Cummins remembers the terrifying moments the storm swept in and the broad river rose to dangerous levels.
Friday morning, the water just started to dribble in, so we went upstairs and we started filming it. At 10, the water went 6 foot in 3 minutes. At 10:03, we said we had to get out of the building.
In the blink of an eye, everything she knew as home was gone.
Our house was on the bottom floor, faced the river. Our store faced the road. We lost both of them in 15 minutes.
And yet, not all was lost. Amid the wreckage, this white lamp and the signage for the Hickory Nut where she sold plants, garden decor, and antiques held on.
And our sign made it, yay! That was done during COVID, actually, because I had nothing else to do, so I painted a new sign. Hey!
Her cat Sophie, the store's greeter, also a survivor.
Or the only piece of the foundation that survived.
Now for Cummins, rebuilding is on the horizon.
We've got it lined up. It's just going to take time. We need money. We need concrete. We need rebar.
Despite everything she's lost, she stands here grateful and determined.
You're alive. The rest is all will fall in place and you keep on trucking, the old saying.
The journey in Chimney Rock is far from over, but brick by brick, it's being rebuilt.
In addition to causing catastrophic flooding, the powerful winds from Helene downed thousands of acres of trees in western North Carolina. 7 months after the storm, that wood has dried out and is now providing fuel for large wildfires to burn in the region, which is making things harder for firefighters in Swannanoa near Asheville. Sam Perez and visual storyteller Jillian Taylor caught up with the local fire department's deputy chief to learn what the past 7 months have been like for the town.
I'm a weather nut, I would put it that way.
After 36 years working with Swannanoa Fire and Rescue, Larry Pearson says that's come in handy, especially as they prepared for Hurricane Helene to hit.
Our saying for the first few hours of that was we couldn't get anywhere from anywhere. Every road had trees, landslides, bridges were out.
A community devastated by the storm in September is now trying to pick up the pieces.
I do think our community is more on edge. They're still so nervous from Helene.
Especially now that it's wildfire season, which Pearson says could be exacerbated by the trees toppled in the storm.
The more that these fuels and large trees and limbs that are on the ground, within a couple of years, as the fuel moisture decreases, that's going to be a hotter fuel that's going to be involved with the fire and fire spread.
Pearson says removing that extra fuel should be the area's next priority. But for now, crews are still working to clean up debris.
We're seeing little bits of progress, but yet it's also disheartening. It's hard for us to watch a building being torn down that has been here since we've been born.
Sentimental impacts and potential financial repercussions.
We already know that it's going to have an impact on our budget because we operate on fire tax revenue, sales tax revenue, homestead exemptions, and some other smaller fees.
Despite the long road ahead, Pearson is focused on an additional task, documenting what happened on September 27th, 2024.
I have to think about responders that are going to be here in 50 years that aren't going to be emotionally connected because they weren't born yet. So I'm going to have to give them a package that shows just how to prepare for things like this. It's going to be education. It's really going to be useful for them.
Looking out for his community for generations to come.
Pearson says he's hoping to see grant money awarded to the area for help with fuel reduction programs that can help clear toppled trees while still protecting the forest's natural habitat. A partnership between Sevier County, surrounding cities, and the Great Smoky Mountains National Park aims to lower the risk of fires across East Tennessee. The program will combine fire protection plans from across all of the region into one. Ellis Rold spoke to officials about how this plan will work.
A new partnership aimed at keeping the Great Smoky Mountains green. Leaders are launching the Community Wildfire Protection Plan.
What this is going to do for the first time, it's going to enable us to be able to jointly come together, cities and county, and produce one document for us to use as guidance moving forward.
The program will take best practices on fire risk from Sevier County and surrounding cities and form one plan.
That's going to help us in the long run to continue to reduce the damage during these wildland-urban interface kind of fires.
Fire departments will be able to ask for federal funding to support that master plan.
Some of those actions items may have been small in nature and tied to a specific area to where now we're going to be able to apply that more in a broad spectrum.
Officials say it's the next step in keeping East Tennessee beautiful.
And while East Tennessee is definitely looking beautiful right now, spring is here and so are allergies. You can treat the seasonal sniffles and sneezes with allergy medicines, but doctors say remember, you can grow tolerant to some medications, making them less effective.
But those 24-hour non-sedating antihistamines, if you take them on a regular basis, you'll tend to get tolerant to them. So it's best to only take those when you need them, and on days where you're not having severe symptoms, either switch to another long-acting antihistamine or don't take them at all.
Tree and grass pollen, as well as mold, are the biggest sources for allergies this time of year. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can always get the latest forecast with the 10 News app. It's free to download in the App Store.